Let's not forget about Clapper, Comey, and Brennan, the three stooges, the three crooks who led the Justice Department, who led the National Security Intelligence apparatus, and conspired to overthrow President Trump. All three lied under oath. Comey was fired. President Trump revoked each of their security clearances, and people were wondering, why can't this president like these three gentlemen early on? You remember those days? Joining us tonight, Andrew McCarthy. Andy is the former chief assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, worked in the office for 18 years. Now a National Review contributing editor, Fox Business contributor, and always a great American. Andy, good to have you with us.
Great to be with you.
Anticlimactic, says Clapper. Those three bums who ran the intelligence apparatus under President Obama, for him to make such a suggestion with all that he's insinuated, said directly and specifically against this president and his administration, I have to tell you, my blood boils when I think about it.
Well, I think, Lou, that this has always been fundamentally an impeachment investigation.
Oh, no doubt.
And, so they have to get done and get the report to the House. It's obvious that it's been winding down. I think I read something this afternoon that Mueller's very large staff is down to 12 lawyers, and some of them are contacting their old employers about going back to work. So this thing has been downsizing and kind of down to the short strokes for a while now.
Yeah, I personally think, I know that that's your theory. My theory is that it was in place of an impeachment, which they couldn't possibly carry out. And controlling the House doesn't mean much when you basically have Adam Schiff as the chief provocateur. He's an impotent and ineffective congressman. God knows he wouldn't be able to lead such an effort successfully. I frankly think that they are fools who now realize their hour is over and the remainder of the days, and I'm talking about 6 years of days, remain with this president. What do you think?
Well, I think we have to be clear on what we're talking about with respect to impeachment. I still think the president will be, I think there's probably 3 chances out of 4 that he will be impeached, in the sense that the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives will file articles of impeachment.
Oh,
I don't think he'll ever be
wait a minute.
removed.
Now, if you're talking about impeachment from, from Green, from Schiff, the usual suspects, Nadler, right. I mean, these are left-wing bozos, for crying out loud. One couldn't control them no matter what the facts. The facts are that there is nothing to bring impeachment proceedings for, other than the offended hearts of these left-wing radicals.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear that I wasn't suggesting I thought the president was going to be removed, but I think that there's a high likelihood.
Clarity these days.
Well, but I just think that Mueller needs to get the report done, because if there's going to be an impeachment in the House, he's got to get it to them.
Yeah, well, there's nothing that says that he has to get it to them, only that he has to get it to the Attorney General, as you well know. The Attorney General certainly would not, I would hope, would not be eager to share that report with a bunch of, as I said earlier, left-wing bozos. Who think that these minutes that they hold are going to turn into hours and days. I don't believe so. Let's turn to Clapper on CNN saying it's going to be anticlimactic. This is one of the folks in the intelligence community, along with Brennan, along with Comey, then following on now with the DNI, Dan Coates, and the others. I mean, what is going on with this intelligence community that they have the effrontery to talk as they do to this president in this disrespectful manner and publicly contradict the president's policy choices?
Well, look, I think, Lou, that when these guys were running, particularly Clapper and Brennan, when they were running the intelligence community, the intelligence community famously had politicized intelligence product. They're now out of the intelligence community, and they sound more like partisan operatives than former intelligence guys. And they're clearly politically opposed to the president. So I think they're now doing from the outside what they were, largely doing from the inside before this.
And it would be nice if the national left-wing media had the integrity to acknowledge that the president was right about those three gentlemen, and has been vindicated by the partisanship they've demonstrated and tried to wield against him as president. I want to turn to the idea that this president, no matter what, has been innocent throughout. But now he has a known corrupt leadership at the Department of Justice, at the FBI. And I don't know if that can be, those agencies, that department can be, can it ever have its integrity restored and the public's trust restored, because it's taking a severe beating over the course of these attacks over 3 years against this president.
Yeah, well, you and I have talked about this before, Lou, and I'm not as pessimistic about that as you are. I think what has to happen is there has to be accountability. There's got to be a credible investigation, soup to nuts, of what went on here. And I think Attorney General Barr is committed to making sure that that happens. So I expect that they'll take a long look at this, and if
we don't need a long look, we've had enough long looks, Andy. I got to interrupt you. I'm tired of the Justice Department and the FBI. It's a place where truth goes to die, where if you want to hide the truth, you start an FBI investigation. You don't hear about Benghazi. You don't hear what's happened to all of these people who we know committed crimes, who were guilty of outright political corruption.
Lou, at any moment, the president could unseal all this stuff and put it out publicly.
Well,
he's chosen
that
not to do
time,
that.
in my judgment, Andy, has arrived. It's arrived some time ago, as a matter of fact. But the idea of another lengthy investigation.
Lou, I hear he takes your calls.
Well, I don't know that he does take my calls, that often. What would you say would be a regular kind of occurrence?
I'd say even if you could do it once, put a bug in his ear. We need some disclosure.
You know what? I will give it my very best effort to get through that White House switchboard. I'm going to try just for you, Andy McCarthy, and the nation. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lou.
Great to see you.
Here to react is Corey Lewandowski, former Trump 2016 campaign manager. Corey, thanks so much for being here. So the first question is, will we ever get the Mueller report, and how will Democrats react to it?
Well, look, the Mueller report should have been handed in this week. We know the president is leaving to go to Hanoi to renegotiate the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, one of the most important things our nation has and the world has in front of it. And we should have had the report out already to prove to the world something I already know. There was no collusion, no cooperation, no coordination between the Trump campaign and any outside entity to impact the outcome of the 2016 election. But let's be clear. If there was anything, this is on the Obama watch. And Comey and Clapper and Brennan are the ones who would have been responsible. They never came to the campaign and said the Russians were trying to hack into the election. Where is the accountability for them, and where's the accountability to Hillary Clinton?
Hey, Corey, let me ask you this. There are calls and some question as to how much of this report will be made public once it goes to Attorney General Barr. Are you for making the entire thing public and have full transparency here?
Absolutely. Look, I think the American people have seen a $40 million witch hunt against this president. They have a right to see where their money has been spent. And if this report is honest, it is going to say one thing, and it's going to be very clear. The Trump campaign didn't collude with anybody, but the Clinton campaign paid $5 million to Perkins Coie to go put together this false dossier. And this whole thing, this whole investigation was predicated on liars like Comey and McCabe and Strzok and Page, and we want the report to be made public so the American people can see that.
At the end of the day, Corey, what do you think the new Attorney General does? Is it going to be full disclosure, partial with some redactions? What do you see ultimately at the end of the day?
Well, I have a lot of faith in Attorney General Barr. I'm glad that he's overseeing this final resolution. I'm glad that Rod Rosenstein is leaving the Justice Department. And what I think he's going to do, with no inside knowledge whatsoever, is he's going to share that with the committees of jurisdiction, and he should outline unequivocally that there should be no additional investigations, because Attorney General Barr is going to be the one person who has the full unredacted version. He'll write a summary, he'll present it to Congress, and he will show through his summary of the work that Bob Mueller has done, there was no collusion of the Trump campaign with any outside entity.
So, Corey, Democrats have been very adamant, and some Republicans, about protecting the Mueller probe, saying that he's credible. And yet here we are without the report, and with the House led by Democrats now saying if the Mueller report doesn't give them what they want, they're going to launch their own investigation. How should the Trump administration and the campaign respond to that?
Well, look, we know that Adam Schiff has never seen a camera that he's run from. He's probably the biggest leaker in Congress, I can tell you that. He has his own agenda, which is not the agenda of the American people. And I think very candidly the Democrats are going to overreach on this. Once the Mueller report is handed in to the Department of Justice and that is made public, the American people will see what we already know. No collusion, no cooperation. The president's 100% cleared. But that won't stop Adam Schiff, and that will come back to haunt the Democrats in the 2020 election, where I predict Donald Trump will have a bigger margin of victory in the Electoral College than he did in 2016.
You heard it here first.
All right.
Mark the tape.
We shall see. It's not over yet. Corey, thank you very much.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.